What is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back from the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're diving back into the 10-star KIZUNA clash against Jumanji with the OG EXP King, Mr. Marco. Now, these teams have pretty much drastically changed since my preparation video, so if you guys did check out that video and you were using those teams, they would have worked early, but they are going to struggle in particular areas moving forward. But in today's video, we're doing the playthrough, and that's what we do. That's the reason we do these, because preparing for the content with what you guys see on screen and actually playing the content are two very different things. If you enjoy the video, belt like button, hit the subscribe button. Remember, this is to be used for assists. I would highly recommend using these for your assists, not your main playthroughs, because you do want to try and raise your friend captains for the most amount of games. So like I said, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff, and let's dive in with the king, Mr. Marco. Alright, so the first variation is the Dex variation, and the team looks a little bit like this. This particular team didn't change, actually, at all, but I did find a way to make it a little bit better. I feel like you can use the Mr. 1 support on Mr. 2, so then that way you don't actually even need to bring Kobe. That way you just sort of have the threshold with Mr. 2, and then you have the paralysis removal with Rayleigh and Mr. 1, and you can just bring anyone else that you want besides Kobe. Like, you can just bring, like, literally anyone. The team is a little bit annoying because you do need Snake Man level in Reg 5, but if you don't have your level in Reg 5, don't stress. You can just, like I said, replace Kobe with a defense up remover, and then just save the Snake Man special for the final stage. That way you just guaranteed the orbers. Because what I did find with this team was I actually struggled to hit 3 perfects on this stage against Yonji. Against Yonji, he puts up 5 turns of defense up. He gives you unfavorable orbs, but with the Snake Man special, he makes all orbs matching. He gives you 3 turns of a chain boost, and then he also gives you an orb buff with a perfect buff to give you an orb buff on the next turn. But as you guys will see here, and then you want to use Smoothie on this stage as well, because you want the 3 turns of the chain boundary. As you guys will see here on this particular stage, we actually kill incredibly easily. It's not a problem whatsoever. As soon as we tap with our second Marco, it's basically curtains. So ideally, you either don't want to use the Marco auto trigger, so that way you don't have an attack buff, or you want to sort of bring someone else to remove the defense up and save the Snake Man to the final stage, or just bring someone else besides Kobe to give yourself an orb boost on this final stage. On the final stage, you get paralyzed for 6 turns, and there's 6 turns of threshold after level 30, so that's why the Mr. 1 support on Bond Clay works exceptionally well. Bond Clay can get rid of the rest of the threshold. He gives you color affinity. To get around the block orbs, we are using Kobe, so if you are going to replace Kobe, you do need someone that is going to rotate block orbs. But again, if you're using Luffy, you have the Brule support, then you can bring up another paralysis remover. That'll work absolutely fine. But as you can see there, Marco had no issues taking down with this build, and you can actually make it a lot better. On to the next fight. The next fight is against Quick, and this team actually didn't change at all. I was freaking out a little bit because I run and I used Yamato and Ace on some previous content, and I was freaking out that this team wouldn't work because when I did that run, the enemy put up damage null on the revive, but that was actually because of the burn. So if you are using Yamato and Ace, just be very careful of that. But this particular team, it definitely had no issues whatsoever. The only downside to this team is it does use Blackbeard. I do think Blackbeard's probably going to be a problem for most people, as Verse, Whitebeard, and Blackbeard is a fairly new unit. They have been thrown on a lot of banners recently, so hopefully you pick them up, because this Blackbeard has become one of my favorite units in the entire game. He does get some versatility charge, but he doesn't get the full charge, so you do want some tandem slots, but that's the upside to bringing Treasure Map Sabo on this particular team. If you don't have Treasure Map Sabo, you can pick him up from the Treasure Map shop. Kizaru is a great replacement for him, but not for the Marco team, unfortunately. But Sabo works great for this team because he's actually a fighter. On top of that, he gives 3 tandem slots. He removes the paralysis orbs on stage 2, and he gives you a chain boundary of 3.0 going upwards for this particular stage to get around that attack down too. So works insanely nicely against Niji here. We're using the auto trigger of Marco, as you guys can see there. The auto trigger gives us an attack boost, and with that, it's an easy kill for stage 2. It's just free. Ideally, you want to tap with those tandem slots. That way, you can actually build up Blackbeard's build up Blackbeard's versatility. If you don't hit perfects and you don't hit tandem orbs, then you're not going to actually get that. So just make sure you are building that up, so that way you get the color affinity boost on the final stage. On the final stage against Jumanji, you have 6 turns of burn, and they put up 6 turns of despair, which is a little bit annoying. As well as after level 30, you get paralyzed as well. You also get unfavorable orbs, and the enemy has a revive. When the enemy revives, you get 1 random crewmate as a captain swap. So that's why we want to use Sanji to become our captain, so we don't have to worry about the captain swap on the next turn. He stays as captain for 3 turns, and he also gives you a chain boost with his super class. On top of that, he makes free spirits, super free spirits, and it just means that him and Sabo are going to hit a little bit harder. Blackbeard gives you a full board of tandem slots here. His versatility gives you a color affinity as well, because you can't use color affinity on this stage, so it works quite nicely with him. And then Jinbei is going to remove the rest of the despair with the opera support, but also remove the paralysis as well as the burn. You do lose quite a bit of HP here, and because there's a revive, the burn is a little bit annoying at 15k. But if you do have Sanji's captain, you can actually use overhealing and stuff like that. So it's not too big of a problem, but it's definitely an annoyance because of the said revive mechanic. Burn is really only like a problem when there is revive, but as you can see, the team has so much goddamn damage. Even without the color affinity buff, I didn't actually use the versatility because I just wanted to try and, you know, get some stuff done fairly fast. And as you can see there, like it was just easy peasy. So that was the Marco team. That Marco team works exceptionally well, but let's move on to the final fight now. And the final fight is against Int, and this team drastically changed. I basically just scrapped a whole bunch of shit and just said, screw this, I'm bringing other units. And funny enough, I actually bringing Jumanji. Jumanji is a really, really good character for this, because Marco is a powerhouse, and when Jumanji are in their dual form, they're a fighter powerhouse as well. I thought, hey, let's bring Katakuri, because he's a boosted unit, plus he's a powerhouse fighter as well. And Garb is also a powerhouse, so you just, like, we're pretty much rocking a powerhouse-centric team. And then finally, we're using Bonclay, Ivankov, and Bonclay. Wow, words are hard. Bonclay and Ivankov. Unfortunately, Bonclay and Ivankov do trigger the death damage. However, under Marco, they do work quite nicely, because Marco can give you the auto heal with his super class, and that way you don't have to worry about the auto trigger when you are using something like Bonclay. Ideally, with this team, we're not going to be utilizing the auto trigger on turn 2. You definitely can though, like it's definitely an option for you if you want to use it on turn 1, and then you can go from there. But I'm actually going to use a Marco special on this stage. It really doesn't matter whichever way you want to go about it, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it. If for your own sanity, you just want to just make sure you use the super class on turn 1, so that way you know what's going on every single time. Go for gold, be my guess. But ideally, you want to use Marco special before the Katakuri special. If you have Katakuri at level limit break 5, he's going to give you a carryover and attack boost. I believe he does that anyway, actually, so you kind of want the chain boost of Marco. That's probably going to be a little bit better. But Katakuri's here to just rotate those block orbs. Basically his big purpose. He also has the Brûlé support, which means that you can actually get some healing on the final stage. No other reason, but literally besides that. And then switching with Jumanji is actually going to give you the chain multiplicative effect, which is super nice. On the final stage, you get poison orbs, and if you do any healing, you are going to take 200,000 death damage. You also can't do end of turn damage, so utilizing the Suru support on Garp is like the only option here, unless you just want to bring your own Momo. You can, because Momo's Sai, and he's boosted under Marco. But if we activate the superclass of Marco, that allows us to use the special of Bonclay and Ivankov. They're going to get rid of the despair. They're going to rotate the poison orbs, and then with Jumanji, we get an attack boost and an orb boost. We have chain boost, we have color affinity with the anal support on Jumanji as well. And as you guys can see here, it's pretty much a nice and easy kill. You actually have some pinch healing as well, so don't stress about your HP gains, because you also get about 11,000 from your auto heal, around 10,000 that auto heal that Marco has, so it works out quite nicely. That's going to wrap up the video though. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there, belt like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff for me. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.